Hello, it's Philip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers, and I'm looking this morning at a book from Oxford University Press. It's one of the two books, sister publications, dealing with the speeches and judgments and or publications, if you like, essays from Tom Bingham, Lord Bingham, who was extremely well known. Sadly, he died a year ago, so this book is reissued together with the new book covering selected essays and speeches to commemorate his life and his work. This is the book itself, nice cover, The Business of Judging. On the back there's a nice picture of him with some detail. This is a paperback, this version. Useful index at the back, quite detailed one. You get a narrative, of course, with the chapters, but you do get useful detailed footnotes, which I found helpful. And at the front, do read his preface, which sets out what his basic aims were. It was written in January 2000, and it sets out what he was aiming to do at that time. You've then got the chapter headings, individual chapters. There are 9 of them altogether, covering a whole range of areas which will be of relevance to jurisprudence and, of course, to lawyers, non-lawyers alike. It covers a much wider range than just a very narrow strata of law. There is a lot of constitutional stuff in too. Now, we've given it the title, Bingham's Accessible Style of Judging Set in Print, because that's really what this is about. Normally we just have the judgments and that's it, but we get a lot more with this book. What we say then is this, that the late Tom Bingham has been described, rightly, as a towering figure in modern British public life, as a judge who is accessible to our generation of lawyers and jurisprudents. This book, The Business of Judging, is an important step forward in breaking down the massive barriers which have existed in the past over what judges actually do, how they think, and what views they have outside the confines of their delivered judgments. We haven't really had that in the past, so it's useful to have this now. So here we've got a series of papers collected together spanning the years from 1985 to 1999, which set out Bingham's views on a wide range of matters. The book is, in my view, of immense value to legal scholars because it gives us an insight for our diverse society with the views of the ethics of judging to the rule of law, a favourite theme, of course, of Bingham. And also he delivers reflections on the main contours of English public and life generally, and of course English public and criminal law specifically, which always remain highly debatable and controversial in the context of both law and constitutional reform. And of course no mention can be made of Bingham without reference to his most important legal contribution, which is the incorporation of the European Convention of Human Rights into UK law, and the big question, of course, of constitutional reform itself. The book sets out some of his fullest statements and early writings for this controversial subject, and his views on the role of the judiciary and the ethics of judging will be particularly relevant, I think, to jurisprudence and to people who have to do the jurisprudence paper. I think, as I say, for exam students, mention this and you might get a couple of extra marks, you never know. We would mention other works from Bingham which relate to this excellent collection of his thoughts, namely the original The Rule of Law, which was written just before he died, and what can be called the sister volume, as I referred to earlier, which is Lives of the Law, which are his later selected essays and speeches since the year 2000. I think it's right to say that Bingham's engaging writing and delivery styles will appeal to judges, barristers and solicitors and any commentators and observers interested in constitutional, social and public affairs, and I think politicians too would find it helpful. He's also an extremely helpful guide to the working of the law today, and his thoughts give us a much better understanding of the role of the law in contemporary society and how the courts are now moving forward as modernisation is well and truly underway. That's obviously since the elections in 2010. Let me finally conclude by saying the last word will go to Tom Bingham from the preface to the work in 2000. He explains that judges are often invited to give lectures on subjects with a legal slant, or to contribute papers for legal conferences. He says many have to be declined, but some are accepted, possibly because the request comes from someone who is hard to refuse. We're very glad he's accepted the invitation to put his views forward here, as the requests from the public have been well answered. Thank you very much. It's a good memorial to him. Very grateful to OUP for publishing it. Thank you. Bye-bye.